All right, so in this video, I'm going to take care of question 9 and 10 because both 9 and 10 are quadratic equations, just written in different forms. And both questions will deal with the complex world. So the first one says, you want to solve for x. You have the quantity of 2x minus 6 being squared equals to negative 16. So I want to use inverse operations to solve for x. And the inverse of squaring something is by applying the square root to both sides. So the square root and the square, they simplify each other out. Remember, when you apply the square root to both sides, there should be two solutions, a plus or a minus. So that's going to be 2x minus 6 equals to plus or minus. Well, the square root of a negative number, that's going to be imaginary. So I'm expecting to see an I. And the square root of 16 is 4. So that's plus or minus 4i. Next, to get x by itself, I'm going to do the inverse operation. The inverse of subtracting 6 is to add 6. So 2x equals to 6 plus or minus 4i. And then last but not least, to get x by itself, you're going to divide each side by 2. So x is going to equal to 6 divided by 2 is 3, plus or minus 4i divided by 2 is 2i. And there you go. Or if you want to write it in two different solutions, 3 minus 2i, or x equals 3 plus 2i. That's also valid as well. All right. For number 10, it says x squared minus 5x plus 25. So you can try to do this by factoring. So you're going to find two numbers that multiply to 25 and add to negative 5. But the only two numbers that multiply to 25 is 1 and 25 and 5 and 5. And when you add those two numbers together, you don't get negative 5. Even if you make them both negative, you don't receive the negative 5 in the middle. So that means you cannot find the value of x, in this case by factoring. Rather, in this case, you're going to have to use the quadratic formula. So the quadratic formula is x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. And yes, you should have this memorized by now because I'm not going to give it to you in every exam. I will not be giving this to you on the final exam. So in this case, a is 1. That's the coefficient for x squared. B is negative 5. And C is 25. So now we can substitute in. X equals negative of negative 5 plus or minus the square root of the quantity of negative 5 being squared minus 4 times A is 1 times C, which is 25. And that's all divided by 2 times 1. 2 negatives makes a positive, so that's 5 plus or minus the square root of negative 5. That quantity squared is 25. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 25 is 100, so that's minus 100 divided by 2. 25 minus 100, that's negative 75 over 2. There's a negative under the square root. So you know what that means? That means imaginary number. We'll have complex solutions, non-real solutions, as I should say. So that's going to be 5 plus or minus I square root of 75 over 2. The negative inside the square root becomes imaginary on the outside. Then you want to find two numbers that multiplies to 75, and one of those numbers is a perfect square. So numbers that multiply to 75 is 1 times 75, 3 times 25, and 5 times 15. But we're going to pick the option that has the perfect square. And the perfect square in this case is 25. So x equals to 5 plus or minus I. We can rewrite this as the square root of 25 times the square root of 3. 25 times 3, once again, is 75. That's divided by 2. So x equals to 5 over 2 plus or minus the square root of 25 is 5. So it's going to be 5I square root of 3 over 2. Or if you want to break it up even further, x equals to 5 halves minus 5I radical 3 over 2, or x equals to 5 halves plus 5I square root of 3 over 2. Either one should suffice. So that is it to the midterm review. This was actually the last video I recorded, although, well, actually I lied. I have one more after this, number 12. Look at me lying to the audience already on a brand new YouTube channel. All right, so we have one more question, and that's number 12. Then I'll be done recording the videos. Hopefully it was helpful. Take care.